Everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little black subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that black subscribe button. Really does help our audience grow, really does help our channel grow, really does help and mean more than you could possibly know. So go ahead, hit that little black subscribe button. Also, thank you to our presenting sponsor, Betfred Sportsbook and the Betfred Sportsbook app. Bet 50 on any game, get $250 in free bets. Thank you again to Betfred. Thank you again to you. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Switch gears, and I want to talk about something that is frankly our favorite topic here on the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube channel. That is Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, Colorado Buffaloes. And so it's been interesting, right? Because Coach Prime takes the job in early December, and it is just this whirlwind of content coming out of Coach Prime. His departure from Jackson State, his arrival, his introductory press conference, his introductory speech to the team, the transfer portal recruiting, the high school recruiting, Cormani McLean. It was one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. But with that said, it's been a quiet couple weeks for Coach Prime. You know, once National Signing Day hit, it becomes a quiet month or so in college football. Coach Prime did go to Radio Row, did a few interviews, but for the most part, it has been, as I said, a pretty quiet few weeks for Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. I bring it up to say Coach Prime isn't quiet anymore. And the reason why is because on Friday of this past week, he did sit down for a very brief interview with ESPN. Now, I don't know if it's going to be part of a bigger interview because it was only about a 400 or 500 word article. But even in that short article, I thought he said some very interesting things about kind of his arrival, some of the things he has said and done since then. And it basically led me to one conclusion. If you listen to what he said, if you listen to the tone that he said it in, I am here to tell you, and I think anybody who would listen to something like this, who knows anything about Coach Prime's background, he has come to Colorado. This was my biggest takeaway. He has come to Colorado to win. He has come to Colorado with zero excuses. And I believe this is a man that is going to get the job done at this insanely high level of college football and build Colorado back into a really, really, really respectable program. Don't know if they'll ever get to the Bama, Georgia level, but this is going to be a really good program really fast. And so Coach Prime did sit down with Adam Rittenberg from ESPN and was really just kind of asked about just kind of the tone that he has established since he got to Colorado. Here's what Coach Prime had to say about all that stuff. He said, it's a whole different level of expectation around here, and you've got to be able to play the game. So a certain level that might have been welcome, that level is no longer welcomed here. It's a whole different ball game. He kept going. This place is beautiful, and I'm pretty sure, I thought this was actually very interesting. He said, with the lack of success, people got complacent around here. They don't understand the beauty and the diamond that you have, and they just walk around fulfilling obligations for a job instead of being happy, enthusiastic, and just proud to be in this position. From there, Adam Rittenberg actually interviewed Deion Sanders' son, Coach Prime's son, Shedeur Sanders, when asked kind of about the message about we're coming, we're bringing our own luggage. It's Louis. And basically, Coach Prime indicated that some of you guys are going to have to enter the transfer portal. Shedeur Sanders said it's not a hard message because here's the thing. A lot of people are used to being lied to. The players coming in, they're coming to play. They're not coming to sit. So if you've been here, you're chilling, you're thinking you're in a good spot, that's not the case. You've got guys wanting to play with top talent each and every position. Shedeur continued and said, nowadays, a lot of people are scared of the truth and they don't like hearing that. And finally, I thought this was important from Coach Prime at the very end. He said, we will not settle for mediocrity. It is what it is. You're going to get on this program or you're going to get up out of here. We plan on winning and we don't have time to procrastinate. So let me just say this. I love everything about this messaging, and I love everything about Coach Prime. And most specifically, you know what I love? Before we get into what he actually said, I love the fact that when he first got to Colorado, he made that famous speech. He made that speech where he said, I'm bringing my own luggage, and it's Louis. Basically insinuating some of you guys aren't good enough. Some of you guys got to get out of here. I'm bringing in players that are better than you. And let me just say, I love not only that he made that speech, the fearlessness to look players in the eye and tell them the standard that has been here is not good enough and it's got to get better. But what I really love is that when he's been pushed on it now, a month, 2 months after that speech was made, he's not backing down. This is the standard, and you're either going to get with it or you're not. And so for me, I go back to that opening day because what I would say in general is I do think that entire opening speech, I think it was largely misconstrued by most people, whether it's in the media, whether it's people consuming the content, whatever. When Deion Sanders said, I'm bringing my own luggage and it's Louis, and then he said, some of you guys are going to have to enter the transfer portal, I don't think he meant what people tried to literally make it out to be. I think people tried to literally make it out to be, he's telling players that they don't have a spot and they have to enter the transfer portal and he's pulling their scholarship. That's not the vibe that I got from Coach Prime. The vibe that I got, this is the vibe that I got from Coach Prime. What he was saying wasn't, I'm taking your scholarship because I'm bringing somebody better. It's that I know what a championship caliber team looks like. I myself as a player have won at the highest level, and everywhere I have coached, we have had nothing but success. And so when Coach Prime made that speech, I don't think he was saying, I'm taking your scholarship. I think what he was saying was, we have a standard. You might not know the standard because you weren't there, but we have a standard. The standard is up here, and you're either going to rise with us or you can't be here, because we're not going to tolerate whatever it was that you guys and girls were doing here before we got here. It clearly wasn't good enough. Otherwise, I would not be here. And so because I'm here now, the standard is going to be elevated, and you can either get with it or it's time for you to get the heck out of here. That is what I believe that message was. And I believe that message was confirmed largely by Coach Prime talking about it this weekend, as well as his son Shedeur as well. And when I think about that speech, I go back to the day after the speech was made, talking about it here on this channel. What did I say? I said, I have no problem with the speech for a couple reasons. One, let's be blunt. Every coach at every level makes that speech when they come in, assuming they inherited a bad situation. Now, whoever, I can't think of a perfect example, but there are situations where things are really good. But for the most part, when a coach comes in, a new coach comes in, a new regime, it's because the last one, it wasn't working. And so Coach Prime made a speech that, let's be honest, Kirby Smart probably made a very similar speech when he got to Georgia. Brian Kelly probably made a very similar speech when he got to LSU. Nick Saban probably made a very similar speech when he got to Alabama. The difference is they didn't have cameras in front of him because, one, Nick Saban, I don't even think YouTube was around when Coach Saban got the head coaching job at Alabama. But two, they just didn't have cameras around. That speech is not any different than anyone else gave. I guarantee Matt Rule at Nebraska gave the same speech this year. I guarantee whoever take a job, any job, Trent Dilfer got a job at UAB. He probably made that same speech. So I have no problem with that. And then here is the other thing about the pushback on that speech. Here's my question that I just want an answer to. What's wrong with having standards, and what's wrong with being honest? The part that I love most about those quotes that I just read you is Shedeur Sanders, Coach Prime's son, saying it's not a hard message, because here's the thing. A lot of people are used to being lied to. The players come in, they're coming to play, they're not coming to sit. So you've been here, you're chilling, you think your spot's good. That's not the case. You've got guys wanting to play with top talent each and every position. Nowadays, a lot of people are scared of the truth, and they don't like hearing that. Why do I bring that up? It's because I think Shedeur is 1,000% right. I would rather have a coach or a boss or a parent or a mentor that's just 100% transparent with me, especially if I'm not living up to expectations. Let me take it a step further. What's wrong with having a standard, right? Like, I was thinking about this. People are freaking. Coach Prime's standard is, we're going to compete for championships, and you're either getting on board or you got to get out. What is wrong with that standard? Everyone in life has standards that they are expected to meet up to. If you're in an office every day, your boss or have standards of you. If you're the boss, you have standards of your employees. Your kids, you have standards of them. Eat your vegetables, do your chores, do your homework. I'm married, right? My wife has expectations and standards for me to meet. And if I don't meet them, she's going to kick my butt to the curb, and she should. And so at the end of the day, I never understood the pushback. And I give Coach Prime credit, like I said, not only for setting the standard, but for not backing down when people push back on him, which leads me to my last point. This is why I think Coach Prime is going to win quick, and win big at Colorado, because he is not lowering the standard for anybody. Now, I'll say this. It's going to be hard. That opening schedule is brutal. They obviously open with TCU. Everybody knows all that. Beyond that, they play Nebraska at home in week 2. They play Oregon on the road and USC at home all before the end of September. That is as tough of an August into September as anybody. But at the same time, Coach Prime has proven that he can do this. He has done this before. He did it at the high school level. He did it at Jackson State. 4-3 during the COVID year, 11-2 in year 2, 12-1 in year 3. It's like, I'm sorry. He has proven he can do it. He's proven he has the blueprint, and he has surrounded himself with some really good people. Obviously, the players speak for themselves. One of the top portal classes of this entire cycle, some elite high school players, more high school talent than Colorado has brought in a long time. But then that coaching staff, too, has some incredible minds on it. We know about Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator, Charles Kelly, the defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer. I don't know if that ever became official, but it feels like he is going to be part of what they're doing there. I'm trying to think who else. Who am I missing here? Willie Taggart probably is going to be part of what they do. So the point I'm trying to make, it might not be right away. It might not be week 1 against the national runners-up TCU. It might not be month 1 when you have to go to Oregon and you get USC at home. But trust me, Coach Prime said it. He said, we're coming. And these quotes only reaffirm to me that they are. As he said, the standard is not going to be lowered. We will not settle for mediocrity. That's his exact quote. You're going to get with this program or you're going to get up out of here. I love Coach Prime. I have faith that this is a guy that is going to deliver on his message. Colorado is going to be must watch. If you enjoyed this video, do me a quick favor. Go ahead, subscribe to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube channel. Little button on the bottom. Subscribe, turn on all notifications. Also, make sure you're downloading full episodes of the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, etc.